I love local history and I love old maps. When those two things combine, fun results. Come with us. We're going to go check out the Sunshine Auto Camp here in Calgary, Alberta. Now, we're still here at DanOCan headquarters because I want to give you a little bit of background before we head out on the road. Lacking any idea where to go, I just typed historic Calgary into Bing to see what comes up. Yes, I use Bing. Don't judge me. And right up here at the top, a link caught my attention. Historical maps of Calgary and Alberta. So I clicked around a little bit, and lo and behold, I stumbled across this map of downtown Calgary dated 1940. I was scrolling around the area near the downtown and the Stampede Grounds when something caught my attention. Right over here, just east of the Stampede Grounds and the Elbow River, was something called Sunshine Auto Camp. My next step was to get onto Google Maps and go check out what's in that area in the present day. And what I found was this giant green space called NMAX Park that's occupying almost the exact same footprint as the former Sunshine Auto Camp. Now, the scale isn't exactly the same in these two shots, but you can see here side by side the two areas and how they line up. So with my interest level stoked, it was time to go online and see what I could find. Peel's Prairie Provinces from the University of Alberta had several different postcard images of the Sunshine Auto Camp. This first one has a date on it of 1920 and gives a nice overview of the camp. There's enough landmarks, especially in the upper left corner, to confirm we're looking at the right area. You can see the Stampede Grandstand and some sort of Quonset building, and there's something that runs along kind of the center of the photograph to the right side that would indicate it's either the Elbow River or a road running along that section. We'll come back to that in a moment. The second image is taken from a different perspective, right down in the camp itself. I include this for a few interesting reasons. On the left side, there's a couple of cars visible, one closer to the camera with its front end out of frame, and then one in the background closer to the motor court. It also provides a really nice, relatively close view of that motor court, which I'm going to talk about later. And I also love the fact that there's a couple of people included in this shot underneath this canopy on the right-hand side of the photo. I think this gives a real feel for what the camp was like in terms of its conditions. The final image is another postcard. This one, according to the archives, has a postmark on the back from Banff, Alberta, and it is dated July the 17th, 1943. Likely this is somebody who was on a vacation, stayed in Calgary, moved on to Banff, and then mailed the postcard from Banff. So that, to me alone, is a very interesting little piece of someone's personal history that's likely lost to the ages. The other thing I really like about this picture is it gives a clear view of the tourist court style of accommodation, which was really popular at the time. You have both, a main building with your room and then a garage space right beside you for your car, as well as individual standalone tourist cabins. Now, when Emily and I did Route 66 last year, we saw a number of examples of this style of accommodation. In Missouri, there was the Wagon Wheel in Cuba, the Boots Court in Carthage, the Avon in Afton, Oklahoma, which is absolutely wonderfully photogenic, Carty's Camp in Needles, California, and Roy's in Amboy, California, were just, some of the examples of this. But it's a style we don't have any examples of around our local area. At least not any examples that I'm really familiar with. So please, if you do know of this motor court style in Alberta somewhere, let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate it. So before we head out and go to the site of the Sunshine Auto Camp, Let's take a look at the map again here quickly. So you can kind of see that both the road and the pathway sort of mimic the layout of the road we saw in the camp itself. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I thought that was kind of interesting. And also on the west side of the Elbow River, you can see where we saw the road on that 1940 map. There's actually a pathway there. So that road is gone, but a pathway exists. So that'll be interesting to check out. So online, I was able to find out that the camp was operated by Abram Van Buren, his wife Grace, and their son Peter, and it operated from the late 1920s until the early 1950s. Okay, so we have made it down to NMAX Park, the site of the former Sunshine Auto Camp. Let's go see if we can find any vestiges or anything. I'm not optimistic, but you never can tell what we might find down here. It may be a coincidence, but this pathway here and the road over there do both seem to follow the alignment that we saw in the 1920s photo of the camp. I do find this interesting as well. All along the pathway here, they have had these historical signs that are showing some of the history of the area and things. Not a single one of them has made any mention of the Sunshine Auto Camp. See a couple more signs up ahead of me. I'm just going to go check those out and see if they happen to make mention of the camp, and then I'll start working my way back. No, none of the signs made mention of the Sunshine Auto Camp. In fact, this sign doesn't make mention of anything anymore. Oh well, we couldn't find any real remnants of the camp, but we got a nice view of the Olympic Saddle Dome and the Elbow River down here, so still a nice place to take a walk. There's a couple of things of note here. This is that pathway that I showed on the 1950 map. So we know at one point this actually used to be a road that went through here, where now it's just a walking path. Second thing of interest is this painted sign here that says Sunbeam Bread. Now the building has obviously undergone a number of renovations, but it looks like it could date back from the era when the Sunshine Camp was still operating here. So there's a plaque on the side. Let's go take a look and see what it says. So the plaque says that Golden West Bakery opened this site in 1929. So the building certainly would have been around in the era of our postcards. And if I take a still frame from my video and put it up against the postcard here, yes, it's a little bit different, but it has been 90 years, so it's probably had a number of renovations in that time. I think there's enough evidence to make a case that this building is visible in our early photograph. So I'm on the west side of the Elbow River, looking east here, and this is where the Sunshine Automotive Camp would have been located, there on the far bank of the river. This is the spot where the old, now gone road would have met up with this road. And so we're coming back here to the McDonald Bridge. Now I believe, based on the date on the sign, the McDonald Bridge dates from 1911, so it would have been present in both the 1920 photograph and on the 1950 map. The McDonald Bridge would have been the primary means of access for people staying at the auto camp. In fact, if I look at the 1940 map, the listing for Sunshine Auto Camp lists it at 12th Avenue and 7th Street, which is exactly where the McDonald Bridge is. Well, as expected, we didn't find any vestiges of the old auto camp down from ground level, but The photo we're working from the 1920s era, says a bird's eye view. So I'm going to assume by a bird's eye view they meant something that was taken from the top of the hill just to the northeast of the old campsite. So let's do a little climbing and check that out and see what we see there. I'm kind of at the first little plateau on the hill, and this is the view. Now it's kind of hard to tell. The Stampede Grounds are down over here. And of course this is the area where I believe the camp was. It's not quite the same view, I don't think, so let's go up a little higher. There's a path just over here. Did have snow a couple days ago, so this might be a little bit muddy, and I do have to be respectful of the private property at the top of the hill, but let's see if we can see the camp closer to that 1920s view from up here. I didn't bring a copy of the 1920s photograph with me to do a comparison while out here in the field, but I think the image I captured here is going to be fairly close and give us a pretty good idea that we're very close to the same spot that it was originally taken. Obviously things up here have been tremendously landscaped over the last 70 years since the camp closed, but you still can see the river down there. You do have the grandstand, but standing up here, it's quite easy to picture somebody in the 1920s climbing this hill with their camera to get a picture of the campground. So I think we've come pretty close to achieving our goal. Okay, well, Tucker, I think, has enjoyed his chance to wander around the area here and check out a few things. I know I certainly have. It was an area I haven't really explored all that much in depth, so it was nice to get into somewhere different. Certainly more urban than we're used to doing, but overall still a really nice and scenic spot. So I appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, I would, it's great. We're growing. I think we're at 77 now, so that number is climbing, which is fantastic. Always good to see more subscribers. I appreciate it a lot. Hope you enjoyed coming along with me today, and I know Tucker enjoyed himself, so thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one.